it's great anyway, because I meet I meet a lot of friends, so I know a lot of people via social network. So and I don't even know their faces, and I know I just talk to them, and it's always a pleasure to meet them and see how they look like. And no, people are really positive in general. The audience is great. The weather is okay, warmer than in France, so that's even cooler. So no, it's great.
Well,
Anyway,
that
I like to be with animation people. They are really, really positive person, and they are really interested by art in general. They are full of questions, and yeah, it's really stimulating. Actually, when I was younger, I wanted to do biology for a living, and as I was terrible in mathematics, I couldn't keep going in with this. So I had to change my mind, and because I was drawing and I was enjoying to draw, I decided to go to an art school, and so there I've met a lot of, well, the other people were really fond of drawing and graphic novels and stuff. So well, I think that I try to fit into that mold. But yeah, I I started enjoying this kind of stuff. So, but when you're young, you don't really know that that will be my life, because you don't even have the the knowledge and the conscience of what a life is about, meaning years and years, but with this fucking time that goes fast, so that goes by so fast. So no, you just do things when they come to you, when you think that that's cool to do that, that's interesting to do that, and you keep going your way this way. So you don't really realize, and you don't put words on this. You're like, that would be cool to have my name on a book. Well, it's not a big deal. Let's try to do that. So yeah, I've never made plans for my life. I just wait until the day after to see what's coming. When I was younger, well, my childhood was not really cool all the time. So I think you know, to I've learned what fear was. I've learned to pay attention to everything. I've learned to trust no one. I've learned to, extra. So um, when I was 19, and when I went to the art school, I said, okay, now I'm free. I can do whatever I want. So don't don't make plans. I don't want to make plans because you never know when. I started doing graphic novels, so you don't know if people gonna will buy your book. You don't know if they will enjoy it, so you don't even know if the when your book is published, you're gonna make a success, or the publisher will say you, okay, you're free to go. You see what I mean? So you just adjust yourself to the situation. Not that free.
no.
No,
Okay.
it's like, uh, sometimes women try to arrange their hair so it's look like they are. It's a false. It's not really neat. It's not, but it takes a long time, to have this kind of style, a little messy, but artisty and stuff. So it's the same thing. uh, uh, I really don't like when my drawing is really neat and really precise, and I like to see the energy in the line, because it means that uh, I have this energy. It's important for me to feel the life in what I'm doing. Otherwise, I think it's irrelevant for me. When I draw, it's like uh, I'm drawing something that will eventually belong to me. It's like when I'm drawing an animal or a character, it's like I'm drawing a new person or a new animal in this world, and it's my pet or it's my friend, or it's a little like that. Like it's a little like when you're a kid and you are playing and you are imagining that the dolls or the cars or any toy you're playing with is somewhere your friend, you have a connection to it. So it's kind of the same. So for me, it's important to always add an extra life and as much as life I can in my drawings. Even if I draw something like a rock, which is mineral stuff that's not supposed to be living, but still. Just the time I'm drawing them actually. So I don't really draw that specific character. I keep going drawing all the time. I change all the time. Maybe because I'm not satisfied, or maybe because I never have enough friends. I don't know. Well, you should see me drawing. Sometimes you could see me smiling and making faces, and it there is a connection. There is an obvious connection between me and what I'm drawing. So it means when I'm like that, it means that I'm in the zone, like artists say. Because you are enjoying yourself, you are discovering something new and something that's coming, towards you. Yeah, it's kind of conversation. Well, you're not in the zone all the time, but sometimes it's okay. So I'm good with it. I'm good with that. But I usually work at night, so maybe it's easier to be relaxed and to be able to focus for hours on something instead of just being disturbed all the time. Because at night, it's not because it's the night. It's because when it's all dark, you don't see the time passing by. You don't see the light declining. You don't see the sun going away. You don't have the feeling of the time passing by. So that's why I like drawing at night. And so you feel this feeling of floating in a no time zone. And it's really pleasant, and it's at this moment that I really can draw quite well. In the afternoon, I'm good at nothing. Really, it pisses me off because I really can't draw in the afternoon. I don't know why. I can draw in the morning, I can draw at night, I can draw at the end of the evening, starting at 6, but in between, it's like my brain has left my body. I can arrange my time whenever I want. When I have a lot of work, a big rush, of course I draw in the afternoon, but I manage myself to do the simple work in the afternoon instead of doing the creative part in the afternoon, because I'm really not able to do that. But yeah, when somebody asks me, a client asks me for doing something, I put aside all my artists, pretensions, and I do the work. Well, I try to put a little of myself in the work, but still. I think that when you hit the wall, there's a reason. It's because there's something wrong before you didn't do, because you didn't think you didn't think the drawing in the right way at first. I think because when you it's like when you drive, when you're driving, if you can't stop to a red light, for example, it's because you were driving too fast. So I think that if you always hit the wall on some work, it's because you have to rethink the whole process. But it's not that easy, and I'm confronted to that very often. It's really, really boring. You just throw everything away, and you say, I hate this job. I want to grow vegetable for a living. My goodness. I'm just a piece of crap. I just can't draw, and I'm a drama queen in the studio. I'm working with my husband, he's graphic designer, beside me, and he sees me leaving the room and say, okay, maybe I'll be back. And I'm doing tons of different stuff, and I'm always grumpy and all day long, and And that can stop me for days actually, because I'm so stubborn when it happens, because I don't want to rethink the process. I always tell people do that, but I don't do that. Of course. I always give the good solutions to people, but I never apply them. That's magnificent. So I'm I'm basically living in a state of perpetual frustration. Believe me, I just don't stop saying interesting things. I mean, and things to people here since I'm here. Students and young people ask me for magic buttons to push in case of emergency, art block and stuff. So I tell them very calmly how to do that, how to break. Yeah, I shouldn't take note of what I'm saying sometimes, just to remember. Well, actually, I'm kidding, but sometimes I use the thing I'm saying, but I should remember them more often. But when you're confronted to the situation, uh, you just don't think about. You're not calm enough. You're just pissed off. So you want. It's not even fair. It doesn't. It shouldn't happen. So no, I'm me. It shouldn't happen to me. So it's not a question of being pretentious. It's just I'm old now. It's been 30 years that I'm working. It shouldn't happen. You see what I mean? Yeah, people say that I always speak my mind. I don't know if it's a curse or not. I don't know. I think that imagine that at some point in your life when you're a professional, it's this way, but it's really rare when it's this way. I mean, for professionals, we all can function, because we are professionals and we can do our work. It's not about, but being able to have the flow and being able to be in the zone and being able, to just, something, you being able to create something just out of thin air like that, and that's wonderful, and you're cool with that, and you've spent a good day doing that. No, it happens, yeah, for everybody, but not all the time. Heaven doesn't exist on earth. I went in the art school in Angoulême, which is a very small town in France. Very small, quite small. There was a small group. We were 15 people in the classroom, because I chose to. They had a special class for a special section for graphic novel students, and so I chose that because I was reading graphic novels at this time, and I was interested in it. And because at first, when I decided I wanted to draw, I grew up with my references were the old Disney movies and stuff like that, and I wanted to do animation, and I've been told that in this school there was a possibility to learn animation, and when I arrived, it was not the case anymore. So there was graphic novel, so I chose graphic novel, which was the closest thing I could fit in. It's not like art is a therapy. It's when you can't do art, when you can't work, because at some point I had to stop working for more than 5 years because I was really sick. So blah blah blah, and then I started feeling better, and because I was so broke, and but not only that, it's like something was missing in my life. It's like I'd lost one limb, During my sickness, I was trying to draw, and I could see that I wasn't there, and that's the most terrifying part. You're not there. You try to draw and doesn't work, but doesn't really work. It's like you are piercing the paper because you're pressing so much, and you can't even remember how to hold the pencil, and your head is empty, and I was trying all the time. Am I here? Am I back? All the time, and I was crying because I realized that there was something that was gone. and I didn't know why, and I was so afraid. You know, it's frightening. You know, it's like when you lose a tooth. You know that it won't grow back, and I was afraid that my drawing abilities couldn't grow back. It's like something had been taken off from me, and that was frightening. And I knew that that was my only way to make a living. I could earn my money only this way. So, and eventually I knew that it was not only about the money. It was about, I want to get back to find back that missing part, because I draw since I was drawing since so many years, that it was part of my life, my life. So it was like a limb, a part of my brain, a part of myself that grew without me being conscious of that, and so yeah. After, as soon as I could feel a little better, I tried to draw. I tried to find back my feelings, and that's why I decided to give myself a job. Because at first I was trying and it wasn't working that well, and I didn't know what to draw. I didn't know if I liked to draw. Just the activity, the drawing process. I didn't know if I couldn't remember that. I couldn't remember anything, because you stop for 5 years, you don't even. What's the point? Is it even relevant in my life? Doing that. What do I like? What do I like to draw? What am I interested in general? So I had to recover all of this. So I gave myself a job. I decided to become my own client, and I say, okay, let's choose a topic. Let's choose a topic not too difficult, so I could be in my comfort zone. So what was my comfort zone? And I remember that I had drew many fairies in the past for Disney, and then after a little for me, and it was fun. It's not that much that I love fairies. I love them, but it's okay. It's pleasant to draw. But I needed something to hold on. I needed just something to. Okay, I need to do that, and that's all. And I'm gonna do that for days. I'm gonna do that every day, even if it's difficult, even if I can't. I have to learn back anatomy. I have to learn back many things. I have to learn back the line. I have to learn back the energy, the movement, etc. So that's what I did. And believe me, it was not really easy at first. So that's why I started going outside for drawing, because I really hated staying at home, because it remembered me the moment when I was sick and I couldn't go outside because I couldn't walk extra. So I started going in the cafes for drawing, and it was the first time I was doing that. So I started doodling, and I started doing rough on small sketchbooks. I had tons of sketchbooks I had bought during the years, and I was never using them, because the nice sketchbooks, you don't want to damage them. so that's what I did, and eventually it helped. Eventually, when at the end of the day, even you could draw only 2 hours, even half an hour, and you could produce one thing that is not that bad, you are allowed to tell yourself, I'm fucking proud of myself. See what I mean? And even if the day after there's nothing coming out from you, nothing good, well, that's depressing. But you try the next day again, and you try the next day again, and eventually, you grab the pencil, more firmly, and you make your way this way. But it's much more like, it's a struggle. Because I knew that my drawing ability was hidden somewhere. You just accept it, you know. It's weird, but because you are actually living it, you're in you're in that stream of dying, and so it's a life process. It's weird, and then suddenly you have to learn to live again and say, yeah, it's not a normal continuum. Now, because my drawings are and my art, what's good in me, what's interesting in me, and life is something else. I put my life in my art, of course, because we all do. But no, no, because I don't want to. Don't want to. I told you that I had a connection with. I was waiting for that connection with my drawings. I don't want to live again what I've been living when I was sick. There's no way. I want to forget. I want to move on. Say that no way. No. I want to find funny stuff in my work. I want to have pleasure to do myself. I don't want to cry over my paper for this particular reason. I cry over my paper when I can't do something, of course, but yeah, that's being in a life. Because I started to draw again 3 years and a half ago. Basically, it's just inspiration. It's just freedom. It's just. I've been doing drawings since this time, and I've been improving a lot. And I discovered that I could do things that I couldn't do before. So I think I'm a better artist than I was before. So it's kind of comforting, but it's not that I'm. It's not a question of pride. It's just a question of that. Yeah, it's a question of pride after all. Oh well, I follow my instinct, really. Sometimes people send me a message for a job, and I don't answer because I don't like to communicate, and I don't know why I don't answer. But a while ago, I learned that the project has been cancelled. So I got a good instinct, and anyway, I always follow my instinct because eventually you can't do wrong. You always can reuse what you did after your instinct. I always say to the students that they have to learn basics, which is a general thing, but I think it's the right thing to do. And then when you know that you are capable of being a professional and comply to a demand of any client, you will be solid enough. You're building your own chair to be seated on, but always follow your instinct and don't copy the other people's stuff, please. Because I think that young people who start often, they are really following the stream, and it's not that they are copying. It's just they are chasing a personality they still don't really have. For what I saw many young artists who are fabulous and who have a very big personality, who bring a lot of new things in art. But some of them, when they ask me that question, I would say, you have to know yourself a little more. You don't have to know yourself perfectly, but you have to know what you don't like and what you like. Really. But don't force yourself to like the same thing than the other people. And it's not because you like stupid things that it's wrong. It's you. Accept it.